So, how's everyone doing? I'm going to talk about the topic that I least like to speak about, right? I'm going to speak about the topic that I least like to speak about. TWU, Transport Workers Local 100, right? So, I'm limited what I could say because I have a case in front of the Public Employees Relations Board. So I've been instructed not to speak about my case, right? So, but I can say that um, President John Chiarello is part of the corrupt nature of this union, right? He's part of it. He's been right in the middle of it. He's been in the union for more than 10 years, more than 20 years. He's been there working for the union in different positions. He keeps getting shuffled around different positions. So May 15, 2026. So the Transport Workers Union represents transit workers in New York City, about 44,000 transit workers. And they claim to be at war with Governor Hochul. They claim to be at war with um, with Zoran, with Zoran's administration, with the city. They claim to be um, wanting to fight everyone, right? Why? For so long, they've allowed a deterioration in workers' rights. They've allowed the removal and destruction of activists and people that are dissidents in the union, right? Now they're calling for these dissidents and these activists to step it up and fight for the union when they've been destroying the same dissidents, right? May 15, 2026. Brothers and sisters, our contract with the MTA is set to expire at midnight. Also at midnight, after several years of negotiation, as well as mediation for the federal government, a coalition of Long Island Railroad unions is poised to go out on strike. We support them. Make no mistake, when it comes to prolonged contract talks, labor unrest, or a potential strike, MTA Chairman Janet Lebo is squarely to blame. He has caused the situation thanks to his ego and his obsession with union givebacks. However, when the Long Island Railroad was out on strike, right, which is a subsidiary of the Metropolitan Transportation Authority, when they were out on strike and they had shut down transportation, guess what they were doing? Providing shuttle buses to replace these trains, right? No union should be involved in union breaking or be involved in a strike. They should not have provided emergency buses, never agreed to that, and not allow their work members to even be involved in that, right? You know what they should have done? They should have walked off the job exactly at the same time that the Long Island Railroad workers walked off the job. They would have had massive leverage, way more leverage, and the Long Island Railroad was able to settle their contract within like a few days. Management caved in and gave them their demands, right? So they could have done it simultaneously, right? I know the situation is different. I know there's a Taylor law, a law that says that transit workers in New York State cannot go on strike. But guess what? Doesn't matter because they're going after people anyway. Individuals are losing their jobs. Individuals are being sought after. They're being suspended. They're being terminated. They're being destroyed and decimated. So at this point, they should have walked off the job. So he says, I'm here to tell you now that your TW leadership is laser focused on securing a fair and equitable contract. We have been bargaining with the MTA for over a month, making a strong case for things that we deserve. That means we're weighing every option very carefully to settle this contract in the best interest of our members while protecting the union as a whole. With our experienced leadership team, support from our international and its president, John Samuelson, our political might, and most importantly, you, our membership, in our corner, I am confident we will reach a favorable outcome to these negotiations. With that said, we must be prepared for anything and rule out nothing. We will keep you informed on all the relevant updates as this process continues. Thank you. Stay strong, keep faith, and God bless the union, right? This was a May contract update, right? Where are the other contract updates, right? So what did they do? That was the last contract update, right? And then 1 month ago, John Chiarello gives another update, right? He gives another update, which everyone should know that if you're a union representing people, you are always at war, right? With management, you're always fighting management. So now the whole tone changed. July 2nd, 2026, President John B. Chiarello provided a contract update ahead of the holiday weekend, and it could be summed up in 4 words: we are at war. He outlined some of the outrageous terms the MTA is demanding, including raises below the rate of inflation, raising healthcare contributions for current members by 50%, increasing total healthcare costs for new members to 10%, driving yet another wedge between current members and new hires, costing you thousands of dollars more each year, increasing the copay for ER visits from $100 to $150, paying doctor with our current prescription plans, making it harder for you and your family to get the medication you need. They want to strip pick rights from our members out of long-term sick and workers' compensation. They want to link maintenance bonuses payments to vague productivity targets. All this while the MTA falsifying bus maintenance records, putting our lives in danger as well, right in the public's lives. Instead of bargaining in good faith, they're also coming down on the members for undeserved discipline, which they've been doing for years, and you've been assisting them by picking and choosing who you defend, by picking and choosing who you are going to fight for and who you're not going to fight for, right? So if you're not going to fight for a person, you just show up or you just don't do anything to fight for that person, right? Don't give them an opportunity to discipline you. Everyone needs to play by the rules. You can't be too careful. We are at war. Protect yourselves and look out for each other. You are brothers and sisters keeper. More than ever, we need to stick together because together we move New York. Protect yourself and look out for each other. In other words, we can't defend you. You got to defend yourself and defend others, right? That's what they're arguing. Let's see the video.
Brothers and sisters, this is your President, John Chiarello. I bring you greetings ahead of the July 4th weekend, marking the 250th anniversary of the ratification of the Declaration of Independence. We're in a war of our own. We've been without a contract for 2 months, and I bring you a long awaited update. Brace yourselves because this is not pretty. For those of you who have been asking for a contract, the reason why we don't have one is because the MTA keeps offering us unacceptable garbage.
Wow, tough language, a tough letter. Walk off the job like the Long Island Railroad did. Doesn't matter if you get fined, if you go to jail as a president, if the vice presidents go to jail. So what? Do what you gotta do to fight for the members and for, to do what you gotta do for your members. Where's your guts? You see, Michael J. Cole would have done it. He went to jail. He was sick and he went to jail. And the judge told him that the strike had to end and he had to bring his workers back. And he said, over my dead body. Right? That's what Michael J. Cole, the founder of the union, said. Over my dead body. Right? He didn't care. Right? This is a big difference from what we see now.
Yesterday, they gave it to us in writing raises below the rate of inflation and abysmal givebacks. They want to raise healthcare contributions for current members by 50%.
And you knew that. So what do you do to prepare? What do you do to prepare all these years? What do you do to prepare all these years? That's the problem. That's the question. What do you do to prepare for all these years? You have plenty of years to do something about it, and you chose not to, right? You chose not to. And then you pull this out.
And
Individually,
increase total
individualists, you didn't surround yourself with workers. You didn't like give a big speech in front of workers. You just put out a YouTube video from your executive office, right? From your executive office, not even from the field, not even from, you know, the ground, but from your whole your, I don't know, what is it? Office suite, hotel suite, I'm not sure, right?
healthcare costs for new members to 10%, driving yet another wedge between the current members and the new ones. They want to increase the charge for emergency room visits and play doctor with our current prescription plans, making it harder for you to get the medications you need. They want to
You hear that, right?
strip pick rights for members who are on comp and link maintainer bonus payments to productivity targets. The list goes on. And speaking of maintenance, productivity, last night's story on
So this is the spew. When you had a chance to stand up to management and fight for the all the people that are fighters, guess what you did? You decided to throw people under the bus and not fight for them, right? You decided to follow Richard Davis, the former president, and agree to all the rules that he agreed to, right? You could have stood up for the members and told everyone that you were not willing to do um, what he wanted you to do, right? You could have stood up and fought for the members, but we know how you work. We know how you've been working for years, right? We know the self-dealing, the self-dealing, and we all know what you did to the retirees, where you put them in a Medicare Advantage plan unnecessarily, just to save the MTA $60 million. And you say, "Oh, um, that wasn't me." You were the financial secretary of the union. You understood the finances. You crunched the numbers. You made that decision along with the president of the union, the former president of the union, to do this, right? Because somebody had to give them the numbers that were crunched, right? Somebody had to give them the numbers. And who would have to give them the numbers? You would, right? And guess what? You're going around to different depots, convincing people to sign the last contract, that it was the best contract possible with all the concessions, that it was not a give back, that putting retirees in Medicare Advantage was not a diminishment of benefits, that it wasn't a reduction of benefits. And now retirees are not getting their health care paid for. You saved the MTA $60 million a year indefinitely for a small raise of 10%, almost 11% over, what was it, over 3 years? And now the contract expired again, and you gave them indefinite $60 million a year in savings, right? They're gonna save $60 million a year for 10 years. That's almost $1 billion, right? And now they're demanding, they want more givebacks and concessions. They want more, even though you saved them a whole bunch of money and made them look good as managers and made yourself look weak. Now they know they could push you around. Now they know your skeletons in the closet, right? All the scandals with the last president that have serious, serious scandals, sexual harassment claims, um, uh, abuse of power complaints, uh, retaliation complaints, that a union should not behave that way against.
Channel 7 shows that the MTA has been falsifying bus maintainer records and claiming the repairs have been made that
And you've been part of it. You knew about this as a union. You knew that they were doing this, but you didn't say nothing because you felt as if
never took place,
it was okay.
endangering bus operators and the riding public. These are deceitful, diabolical people we're dealing with. And these draconian terms the MTA are demanding show that they are not serious about bargaining. But this is the game the MTA is choosing to play.
Not now they're cynical and diabolical because they're not playing with you or they're not following your lead in helping them. You knew that they were doing this for years. Why do we know? There's been so many complaints to the National Transportation Safety Board, to the Federal um, Labor Department, to the New York State Labor Department. It has been written about extensively, and you just stood on the sidelines and act like it wasn't happening.
Play. Instead of engaging in real bargaining with us, they're riding with floats with our members at the Knicks parade, smiling and waving next to the same people they are trying to screw over. You should know that behind the scenes, this is the kind of contract Jan Oliva and Demetrius Critchlow think you deserve. And don't forget who's behind this whole plan. Governor Kathy Hochul, who has every ability to settle this contract under fair and equitable terms. And sadly, instead of bargaining in good faith, they are coming down on the members for undeserved discipline.
Which they've been doing for years,
So what I need everyone to do
and you look the
is to
other
play
way.
by the rules. Don't give them an opportunity.
You've been doing it for years. Let me see. Let me see something. Let's see. Let me look something up. Let's look it up, people. Oh, crap. Who's that? Who's that, everyone? Hold on. Should I share it? Let me share it. Who's that, everyone? Everyone can see it? Can everyone see it? Who is that? John Chiarello with Kathy Hochul Richard Davis, Tony Utano supporting her. They brought her into the depot, into right into the depot, into Michael J. Quill depot. They took cameras with them. They had the workers cheer her on. They were glorifying her, how she was going to be way better than Andrew Cuomo. They supported her re-election bid, and they want to act like she's the worst thing possible. But you've been playing with the devil. You've been dancing with the devil this whole time. Now you're telling members that they shouldn't support her after you've been supporting all these years and making deals with her and making deals with her administration and letting members be terminated and get disciplined despite you saying that buses are not safe. You still allow members to lose their jobs because of these unsafe buses, right? So let's get real. If you want to talk about politics, please don't. Please don't. Because we know the game that you play. We know the game that you play.
Opportunity to discipline you. You can't be too careful. We are at war. Protect yourself and look out for each other. You are your brothers and sisters' keeper. More than ever, we need to stick together because together we move New York. God bless America and God bless the TWU. Thank you.
And that was supposed to be inspiring. That was supposed to be presidential. That was supposed to make people feel better. And I have countless pictures of them partying together, of them spending time together, of them going to Yankees games together, of them going all over New York, working together, conceding and making concessions. And now you want to act like you're against the governor. Now you want to act against like you're against them, whatever the mayor's doing. You want to act like you're against Julie Menin, right? You want to act like you're against Julie Menin, right? The speaker of the city council, right? I gotta show you because the internet, the receipts are there, right? The receipts are there. So instead of aligning yourself with a pro-worker mayor, this is what you decide to do. So now they're like, um, Julie Menin, this politician that we supported, it's a bully. She's a bully. Council Speaker Julie Manning has been acting like a bully. trying to put 170 mostly immigrant workers out of a job without the city taking accountability for the role they should be playing to oversee the carriage industry. We're doing what any union would do, standing by our members and defending them. Speaker Manning, you can't come out on the offensive and don't expect us to fight for their jobs. Oh man. So why you don't fight for anyone else's jobs? For all the people facing discipline in Local 100, right? What about the people facing discipline in Local 100 that you're not defending?
Council Speaker Julie Menin says the Transport Workers Union are bullies for defending our members. We say you are a bully for exploiting the tragedy in Central Park. You attacked the Transport Workers Union. Immigrant families are suffering because of you. And when we fight back in defense of our members, don't cry foul, don't cry victim. You are the aggressor. You brought this on yourself. Council Speaker Julie Menin says the Transport Workers Union are bullies.
After supporting her and speaking up for her last year, right? Speaking up for regular people, for regular workers, right? So that's what she did. They stood up for her and then she betrayed them. And then you wonder why their political instincts are so wrong, right? Right? Then you have the international going hardcore on on fighting for the horse carriage drivers. And that's why people feel crazy about what they're doing. And I saw the interview he had on New York One. Um, he had an interview on New York One, did not mention the transit workers, not even once, right? Did not mention the Transport Workers Union, not even once in his whole interview, right? With New York One. He didn't mention the Transport Workers Union at all. And I wonder why. In the middle of a contract fight, if you're at war, why are you not mentioning the 44,000 transit workers that are the majority of your biggest local that funds a lot of the things that you do, right? That funds the majority of things that you do. And let's see John Samuelson's uh, page, right? Twitter, right? What does he have on his page? Coney Island, Stillwater Avenue Station, D, F, N, and Q, right? He used to be president of the union when before they started selling out. See this? John Samuelson, official account of John Samuel, international president of Transport Workers Union. Um, Should New York City ban horse carriages? Here's what 44 years of data shows, right? Opinion: New York City proposed horse carriage ban is driven by emotion and propaganda. All right. Uh, they move New York and they move around New York. When Governor Kathy Hochul was here, TWU will get Local 100 protesting the governors before, right? 44,000 members, and all they got was release people, people that work for the union. This is all the people they could get. This is all the people they could get to come out. It's a weak position, right? To be in. But they've been selling out people for so long that they don't have much fighters left, right? All he's talking about is mostly speaking about the what is he speaking about? John Samuel reposted. Alexander Kemp, this thing's to high heaven. The MTA New York City bus are risking the lives of the passengers and your employees by falsifying safety logs. Heads must roll. So now by admitting this, you're like trying to throw members, right? Trying to throw members under the bus. TW bus workers in Akron, Ohio, are fed up with the lack of respect from Akron Metro CEO Dan Disler for refusing to recognize Juneteenth as a holiday for the majority Black transit workforce and for denying a worker fair contract with raises. Yesterday, TW Local 1 in Akron marched in the Juneteenth parade and let the community and Akron, Ohio mayor know about Akron Metro disdain for its own workforce, right? And that's the majority of the workforce of TWU are people of color, right? And then TWU, after horse theft, TWU says carry drivers face threats, anti-immigrant harassment. Central Park visitors support horse carriage rides, oppose New York City's ban poll, right? June 11th, June 7th, more horse riders. All of New York loves the New York Knicks and is full of pride. New York City great. Onward to victory. TW Local 100 station agent Brent Maloney, among the many giving shout outs to our team in blue, white, and orange. Let's go, TWU Samuelson, right? All about the carriage horses. All about the carriage horses. Every single one of his posts, except for two, are about carriage horses. He's fighting so hard for the carriage horses. More carriage horses post. More carriage horse post. Guess what? Union activists showed up at the Rail Control Center in Midtown this morning. When the governor learned that Local 100 members were outside, her team quickly whisked her into the building via an by allowing unlicensed scam nurses from out of town to care for our families. Then this so-called Democratic governor triggered the Long Island Railroad strike and did her best to break the workers' union. Now, Governor Hochul is trying to swipe $900 million a year of payments from New York City's retirement system for MTA workers' hard-earned pensions. Democrats like Kathy Hochul are the scourge of the party, and that's Transport Workers Union and Transport Workers International. Nuts, right? Crazy. And this is what they're doing. But let me show you something else that Transport Workers Union is doing that a lot of people don't know that they're doing, particularly John Samuelson, the international president. Okay, I gotta expose the hypocrisy, right? Transit Union Honcho to sue Columbia alleging mistreatment of staffers and building takeover. The union head who represents university custodians accused Columbia of failing to protect workers from pro-Palestinian protesters. New York, a prominent transit union leader, plans to sue Columbia University over alleged mistreatment of school staffers during a building seizure last week, the latest labor group to wade into the debate surrounding campus unrest. John Samuelson, international president of the Transport Workers Union, which represents 155,000 workers across the airline, transit, railroad, university, utilities, and service sectors, castigated Columbia President Minouche Shafik for waiting too long to authorize the NYPD to clear out Hamilton Hall after demonstrators occupied it last Tuesday night. How dare her not call the NYPD on protesters? It's on. So this is a union leader calling on NYPD to clear out protesters and use military force against protesters, pro-Palestinian protesters. It's on them to protect their workforce, and they didn't do it. Samuelson told Political. He called dissidents' behavior toward staffers working at the time of the takeover, including two custodians and a security officer, an outrageous affront to working people. One of the union's local branches represents 725 workers at Columbia, including custodians, security officers, and electricians. Officials should have known the building was a target, given its history as a site of an occupation by students advocating for racial justice in the 1960s, he charged. We're exploring every legal means at our disposal against Columbia, against the individual occupiers of the building who thought that they could hold our custodians hostage to their ideology, he added. The union Hancho, who also represents 45,000 member Transport Workers Union Local 100, insisted he supports students' constitutional right to protest. Samuelson repeated a claim to which Major Eric Adams has been clinging since police officers responded to protests at Columbia and City College. The outside agitators snuck into student encampments and exacerbated tensions. The NYPD arrested 109 protesters at Columbia and 173 at City College. The mayor has continued to defend the timing of the police officers' response. A Columbia spokesperson declined to comment on Samuelson's legal threat. An organizer for Columbia University, apartheid divest, the group that was behind the encampment but was not involved in the takeover of Hamilton, told Political they could not speak to the actions committed by, or words said by the autonomous group of students who occupy Hamilton. The vast majority of individuals involved were peaceful and only had the intention of being peaceful and treating people with respect, said the organizer, who was granted anonymity, adding that it's the first time they're hearing about the allegations. The move represents a significant escalation by one of those most politically active unions in New York State. And Shafiq and Adam Steele with political fallout from the NYPD's crackdown protests on campuses. The union has not shied from picking fights with powerful Democrats. Samuelson recently launched an attack ad against Governor Hochul amid an ongoing disagreement over a union contract. In a letter, Shafiq late Monday morning, Samuelson urged the president to provide the names of the protesters arrested inside Hamilton Hall, access to footage from the building, and information the NYPD gave to Columbia on the number of students who participated in the demonstration, as well as outside actors went full throttle trying to go after the Columbia protesters, the pro-Palestinian students. He went as hard as he could against them legally and fought for them, but he won't fight for the workers, the activists within his own union to keep their own jobs, such as myself, right? No peace, no fight, no willingness to engage. He also wants to meet with Shafiq and discuss steps to ensure worker safety if the protests resume, as well as compensation for affected union members. When the custodians told the demonstrators that they wanted to get out of the building, at least one smarmy, sanctimonious, elitist occupier, in a reference to the Gaza protests and takeover of Hamilton, told them they would not be able to exit premises because the moment is bigger than you. Samuelson alleged in the letter. The custodian had to then fight their way toward one of the barricade exits to escape, he said. The security officer, an African American woman, managed to slip out before the barricades were set up, Samuelson added, but she's still shaken by her run in with the demonstrators, who verbally attacked her in a very aggressive and extremely offensive manner, he said. Labor unions have been increasingly weighing in on turmoil conflicting institutions across the country. Sean Fain, president of United Auto Workers, blasted a mass arrest. Other unions have called for a ceasefire in the Israel-Hamas war. The Professional Staff Congress, the City University of New York faculty and staff union on Monday requested that CUNY Chancellor Felix Matos Rodriguez asked Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg to drop charges against students and employers. CUNY faculty recently staged a strike in support of the protest, but the union did not authorize or support it. So then John Samuelson's here rallying against these union members, fighting, trying to sell them out, trying to get information on the people that were arrested, and trying to sell out the whole movement, while Sean Fain is actually fighting against the mass arrest and fighting for the workers overall. So this is the yellow union, one of the biggest yellow unions that sell out the workers big time. Just with this article, you can see what side a person like John Samuelson's on. You can see that he's on the right wing side. He wants to destroy regular workers and doesn't care about the TWU local 100 workers, transit workers, which are mostly minority uh, 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 that work there, right? He doesn't care. He's willing to go to battle, go to court, and fight for um, the people that he wants to fight for, right? So we know and we can see which side
In the face of rising medical and drug
which
costs,
side this union is on, right? And I don't think they asked the workers what side should they stand on, right? They didn't ask what we should do and how we should do it. Let's stand up for the workers in Transport Workers Union 100, and we need to get the international president out the president out and all the vice presidents that are in support of selling the members out. Thank you, everyone, for joining me. There's a lot more, but I'm not going to be talking about it, but it will be coming out soon. Thank you so much. I'm Celso Garcia, union activist and TWU member, Transport Workers Union. I'm still fighting in court and still fighting the MTA and still fighting the union. If they want to help me, they can, but they choose not to, right? So that's just a reality. Have a good day, everyone. Take care.